Good morning, everyone. And today we will now continue our discussion in precalculus. And now we are in the topic, in the discussion under the topic of ellipse. Okay, let us define first what is an ellipse. So, by definition, ellipse is defined as the set of points in a plane that the sum of whose distances of two fixed points are constants. So something like, so if I will draw it here, if you have two fixed points, say somewhere here, fixed point number 1, say we call that as F1, focus 1, and here is the focus 2. Okay, let me admit these students who wants to join for a while. Okay. Okay. Now, say for example, these are the fixed points that we have. Can you see my screen, class? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Maklaro?
Sir.
Good.
Sir.
Sir.
So kindly mute your microphone. Again, remain your microphone muted. Just unmute it if you want to say something. You ask something. Okay. So these are the fixed points. If you say ellipse, say for example, you have 1 point here. The distance from here going there plus the distance from here going there must be constant. So if you mean constant, if you get another point here, say if this is your piece of 1, this is your piece of 2. If you get another point here, piece of 2, the distance here and going there should be equal to the sum of the distance a while ago. Something like, if you have the distance f sub 2 to p plus the distance of the f sub 1 to p sub 1 should be equal to this distance, I mean, that one, the sum of that distances should be equal to this sum of these distances. It means if you get the distance from the f sub 2 and p sub 2 plus the distance of your f sub 1 to your p sub 2, if you take the sum of the distances should be equal to the sum of the other point. So again, this portion here are just referring to the distance. And if you collect all of those points, you may have another point here. We call it as vertex 2. Here is vertex 1. If you collect all of these points, you can create a form like this, and we call it as an ellipse. By the way, here, the notation that we are using here is the A0. A stands for the abscissa of your vertex. So obviously this one must be negative A0. That is your vertex 2. This is your vertex 1. Okay. So while in this portion, this is the focus, right? So bear in mind that the focus, okay. Okay. So bear in mind that the focus here, there are two foci, right? There are two foci. The focus 1 and the focus 2. The focus 1 will be, the abscissa will be denoted by C. And of course, this is 0 because this is in the x-axis. Your y is always 0. While here is the negative C0. Okay? And another thing that we can get here is this one. The endpoints of your minor axis. These are the endpoints of your minor axis. What I am referring for minor axis is this axis. The major axis is this. How to know whether it is a minor axis or the major axis? It is a major axis if it is the axis that passes through your vertices and foci. Again, it will be called as major axis like this. if it passes to your vertices and foci. But if it passes to your extremities, by the way, these are called extremities, E sub 1 and the E sub 2, then that is your minor axis. And in your extremities, it will have a numerical, what's that? The coordinate rather. The coordinate would be 0, B. You will be using B for your extremities. For your extremity 2, it should be 0, negative B. Okay? In this example, we have an ellipse wherein the major axis is along the x-axis. Okay? And one more thing, class, by the way, there will be relationship between this A, B, and C. I will repeat. This A should be taken from your vertex. This B should be taken from your extremities or extremity. And your C should be taken from your focus. What is the relationship among these three? So we have here the B squared, the square of your B coming from your extremity, distance from your center to your extremity, is the square of that is just equal to the square of the difference of the distance from the center to your vertex, this one, minus the distance from your center to your focus. So that's why you have here B squared is equal to A squared minus C squared. Ano saan nagamiton? You can use that if you have the value of A and B and you're looking for C. Or the other way around, you are given with A and C rather, and you're looking for B. So you can use that equation in finding those values. And by the way, there will be a theorem that states that if your focus is at focus 1 is at C0 and focus 2 is at negative C0, just like what I presented to this one in the left side, that this one kining ellipse in blue, kana nga ellipse will have an equation of x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equal to 1. This is the standard form of the equation of an ellipse wherein the major axis is the x-axis. Okay, that's it. And the other way around, let me erase that. The other way around, the other one is something like this one. Let me change it to black. The other one would be this one. Say for example, your focus 1 is here and your focus 2 is here. So, of course, your vertex 1 must be here and your vertex 2 must be here. If you look at here, it's your major axis is along the y-axis. So it means the coordinate of your vertex should be given at 0, A. While the other vertex should be 0, negative A. While your focus should be 0, positive C, and your focus 2 should be 0, negative C. The extremities that you will be having will be here for your extremity 1, no, it's 2, extremity 1 here. If you look for the coordinates of that, it should be given by negative P0, and here extremity 2 should be P0. And if you're gonna draw it, it will look like this. Your ellipse, always bear in mind class nga, ang imong ellipse will pass through your extremities and vertices. Muagig yun na kang extremities and vertices because vertices and extremities are points of your ellipse. Bear in mind, vertices and extremities are points of your is that ellipse. Okay, so the only point that we cannot consider as part of your ellipse is the focus. But that focus is the one that determines what is your ellipse. Okay? Any questions so far? None. By the way, if this will happen, this is your major axis. Your major axis here is the y-axis, and the minor axis is the x. So in that case, class, wait for a while. In that case, the equation now will be not this anymore. The equation will be given by x. Wait, nasa pikas nga slide. Ato na lang ikuan sa pikas nga slide. The equation, if this is the case, the equation of your, let me stop sharing for a while. The equation of your okay, here. Let me share again. The equation of your, can you see it now, class? Or dili pa? Makita?
Makita, sir.
Good. So, if katong inyong major axis is along the y-axis na gani, class. Nanagay diri si vertex 1, vertex 2, extremity 2, extremity 1. And your ellipse look like this. This one. This one. This is your focus 1 here. And this is your focus 2 here. In this case, class, the standard form of the equation of your ellipse will be this one. So it will be x squared over b squared plus y squared over a squared. I want you to observe. Unsay kalainan ani nga formula o kaganiha? Remember, ang formula kaganiha katong ang major axis is along the x-axis. Akong i-draw ha para makita ninyo. So, this is the vertex 2, vertex 1, focus 1, and the focus 2. Extremity 1, extremity 2. And it looks like this. The equation of this one will look like this one. Kana, no? Well, the equation of this will be this one. If you look at here, class, if the major axis is along the x-axis, kana bitong a squared should be in x, denominator ni x. Clear? But if the major axis is along the y-axis, or the y-axis is your major axis, then the a squared should be in the denominator of y squared. Got it? Padalin nyo mahinumduman. So, mo ni siya ang equation if the major axis is the x-axis, and this is the equation of your ellipse if the major axis is the y-axis. Clear? Am I making things clear, class? I want to hear from you. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sir.
I just want to hear from you if you get it or not. Okay, so that's it for, and there is also a possibility. We will go back for that. Let's have one example so that you will understand it. Okay, say for example, let's use this. Say for example, we have this one. I'll give you an equation. Say, okay, this one. Say for example, we are given with 9x squared plus 25y squared equal to 225. So you are asked to graph this one. And how to graph it? Okay, what you will be doing is you just have to rewrite this in either of this form. In either of this form. So how to do it? First step, as you observe, the right side in your standard form must be 1. So the very first step that you will do is to make the right side 1. And the only way to do it is by dividing 225. Do you agree with me? Class, do you agree
Yes,
with
sir.
me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and after that, if that will be the result here is 1, so you just have here
You round off.
9 over 225, right? And that is just x squared over 25. Agree? Because the 9 over 225 can be reduced as 1 over 25. Sakto ba? Plus no? I think that's
Yes,
correct.
sir.
Well, the
Sir.
other one can be if you distribute that in each term. If you reduce 25 over 225, it will be 9. Sakto? So what we
Yes,
did,
sir.
we just distribute the 225 in each term, then we reduce. And this is now the result. Okay? And we should make it this way, this 4. So in this case, it will be x squared over 5 squared because 25 is a perfect square. And y squared over 3 squared equal to 1. By the way, one thing that you will remember, this a should always be greater than your c. Okay? Should always be greater than your c. So, and the relationship between the b and the a must be this one. And how to know whether that is your a and that is your b here? Saan pagkabalo nga kini si A or kini si B? What do you think, class? Saan pagkabalo? How to know that this is your A and this is your B? Hello? How to know? So remember, in the formula, it should be AB, right? So all you have to remember is, asa ang mas dako sa ilahang duha, that will be your A.
A.
Oha?
A, sir.
So
Yes,
your
sir.
A here should be the 5 squared. Okay? So it is clear now that your A is 5. Agree? While your B is 3. Kasi wala na to. We don't have the C. And how to get the C? We need to use this equation. So we have the value B. We also have the value A. So your B is 3. So that will be 3 squared equal to. Your A is 5. So that will be 5 squared minus C squared. Yun, me transfer the C squared to the other side and the 3 squared to the other side. So it will be C squared positive because you transfer it. And it will be 25 minus 9. Right? Because the 5 squared is 25, the 3 squared is 9. It becomes negative because you transfer it to the other side. And after that, this is just 16, right? No?
Yes.
25 minus 9. You take the square root both sides, so your C should be plus or minus 4. Agree? So your A must be plus or minus. I just use the plus or minus because we are taking square root, but actually our C is just 4. Okay? So if we're gonna graph it, if we will try to plot it in the Cartesian coordinate plane, it will look like this. Wait, let us erase this portion. So, by the way, class, dili putol-putol akong tingog. Maklaro ra?
Klaro na,
Klaro
sir.
na, sir.
Okay, good.
Ora,
Klaro
sir.
na.
So, what we will have now is this. By the way, ang importante ra bitaw sa ellipse class is you will know your vertices and your extremities. Because if you know the vertices and extremities, then you can sketch the graph of your ellipse. Tanawan ninyo ha? If you will know your, by the way, your A is 5. Positive 5. And that is along X, right? Nakita ninyo along X, no? Pasabot, kay along X man, ang inyong major axis is in the X axis. So it should be 5, 0. That is your vertex 1. While your vertex 2 should be negative 5, 0. Okay? Pasabot di ay, kay ang C is 4, so somewhere here is your focus 1. And that should be 4, 0. While your focus 2 should be negative 4, 0. Got it? While your extremities should be taken from B. B, right? So it should be extremity number 1. It should be 0, positive 3. This 3 is coming from your B. Okay? And the extremity 2 should be the point 0, negative 3. Actually, class, ang importante lang diri is you have this extremity 1 and 2, vertex 1 and vertex 2. Okay, kung makuha na nimo, ma-sketch na nimo ang graph sa imuhang ellipse. And it will look like this. Got it? Kana. Okay? So that is now the graph of your ellipse. Any question? No question? Clear? That is the graph of the ellipse. So ganito nga given ka ganina. That is the graph of your ellipse. In green, that is the graph of the 9x squared plus 25y squared equal to 225. Any questions? Any questions? By the way, we also have Directrix dito. I forgot to mention that. Just like in parabola, ellipse will also have Directrix. Okay? And the equation of your Directrix, na theorem nga kung ihatag sa inyo later. Okay? So, this is the theorem that I am referring for. Not that, this one. You can look at this theorem. Theorem number 3.10. This is the theorem that we will be using. I will be sending it in your group chat so that you will have a copy of it. This is the theorem that you will be using if your ellipse, the major axis of your ellipse is at x-axis. Okay? By the way, the one that we discussed now is the center is at the origin pa. Later, we will discuss what will happen if the center is not in the origin anymore. So that another story na po na siya. So while if you will have your major axis is the y-axis, then this is the theorem that you will be using. Kamu na lang ikaw na ha, memorize ha. O pwede tingita mo i-allow sa major nga quiz na to by having your index card for that formulas. But if you can memorize it, much better. Okay? So kindly take a screenshot of that, or I will be sending it to your group chat so that you can have a copy of it. Okay? By the way, as I mentioned, this is your directrices or Directrix 1 and Directrix 2. So if your major axis is the x-axis, it should be given by x equal to positive or negative a squared over c. But if your major axis is the y-axis, then it should be given by y equal to positive or negative a squared over c. And those are your directrices. By the way, one more thing. We also have eccentricity. That eccentricity should be less than 1. Nakadiscuss mo ta sa parabola eccentricity class, no? Na-mention ba na nako sa parabola? Hey, did I mention eccentricity in the parabola?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
The eccentricity of your parabola must be equal to 1. Exactly equal to 1. But in this case, the eccentricity should be less than 1. Okay? But if your eccentricity is greater than 1, that is for the hyperbola. Okay? So, always check if the eccentricity, whatever is your C divided by your A, that value should be less than 1. Unsa gani ato ang C kaganiha, class?
4, sir. 4.
Positive, negative
4.
4.
C, no?
Negative.
Ang
Yes,
atong
sir.
A is 5, right?
5, sir.
So is it less than 1?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Yes. 4 over
Ay.
5 is less than 1, right? Okay, mas
Improper
gamay
fraction,
ang
sir.
numerator.
0.8 siya, sir.
Yes.
Improper.
By the way, unsa din ang eccentricity, class? Eccentricity, class, is the flatness of your ellipse. How flat it is. Okay? Kung gamay imong eccentricity, medyo flat siya. Pero kung dako sa medyo tambok imong ellipse. Got it? Kuha ninyo? Kung gamay kayo ang value sa imong eccentricity, medyo flat imong eccentricity. Pero kung dako imong value sa eccentricity, medyo dako sa near to circle siya. Okay? That's it. Any questions so far? No question? So we will proceed to the we will now discuss what will happen if your ellipse, the center is not at the origin. So say for example, it will look like this. Say for example, your focus 1 is here and your focus 2 is here. Okay? So it means somewhere here is your vertex 1. Dapat collinear yun na si focus o si vertex. If you say collinear, class, they are lying in the same line. So if you will look at this is your major axis, right? So wala na sa ni pole sa inyong x-axis. So your center now is somewhere here. Kita ninyo? That is your center. Unlike a while ago, it is in the origin. Or it can be anywhere in your Cartesian coordinate plane. And somewhere here is your extremity 1. And somewhere here is your extremity 2. So your ellipse now will look like this. This one. By the way, class, this axis, this one, I will draw it in yellow para makita ninyo. This axis is what we call the major axis. Okay? While in pink, this one is your minor axis. Okay? Always put it in mind that the points in your ellipse are those points in blue only. Kanina nasa blue only. And if this will happen, if your major axis is parallel to your x-axis, then the equation of your ellipse will be given by this. Again, I will repeat. If the major axis is parallel to x-axis, then ang a squared is naaubos ni x. Okay? And this is the equation, general standard form rather. The standard form of the equation of your ellipse, wherein the center is not in the origin. And if the other way around, katong gaganiha, how bit baliktad? Dili lang nato yata ang example. This is your focus 1, focus 2. So somewhere here is your vertex 1. This is your vertex 2. So this is your major axis now. So it is now extremity number 1, extremity number 2. So your ellipse now will look like this one. And ano? Always bear in mind, your ellipse will pass through your vertices and extremities. So it will look like this. So your major axis is this and your minor axis is this. Got it? If your major axis is parallel to your y-axis, or exactly lying in the y-axis, then your standard form will be given by this. Always bear in mind, no, not that one. but this one. Okay? The a squared should be in the denominator of y. Kana kay timan-an. Okay? These are the formula that you need to remember. Okay? Any questions before we proceed? We will give example. Walay pangutana? Wala man tingali. Another thing di ay, before ko mo-continue, naaday theorem pud ana niya. Theorem. If the center is not at the origin, this is the theorem that you are going to remember. I will also be sending this in your group chat. This theorem will be used if your major axis, if the major axis is, saan naman niya kung kuhan hinay ang connection, is parallel to the x-axis. Is parallel to the x-axis. And this is the theorem that you will be using. If your major axis is parallel to your y-axis. Okay? So sa ato pa class, naaday upat ka theorem nga atong i-memorize. Katong theorem para sa center at the origin na ay sa x nga major axis o sa y. Napoy duha ka theorem nga magamit if the center is not at the origin, the major axis is parallel to the x-axis, and the major axis is parallel to y-axis. So there are 4 theorems here that you need to understand. Okay? That will really help you. Let us have one example here. Let us have one example. Let me get one example. Good, this one. How about you are given with 9x squared plus 4y squared. 4y squared minus 18x plus 16y minus 11 equal to 0. And you are asked, oh, kindly sketch the graph of this function. Or probably not a function, but a relation. Because it is not a function anymore. Kabalo mo anong dili ni function ang ellipse class? Do you agree with me that ellipse is not a function? Do you agree with me? In your Gen Math, are you
Yes,
done?
sir. Yes, sir.
Are you done
Agree ko, sir.
discuss? Yes. Nganong dili man siya function? If you have an ellipse, if you draw a vertical line there, it will pass more than once, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is not a function, but a mere relation, right? In your Gen Math. Who is your Gen Math teacher again?
Si Ma'am Akas.
Daisy.
Ah, si
Akas,
Ma'am
sir.
Daisy.
Ma'am
I
Daisy
know that
Akas.
you are in good hands. Okay, let's continue. So here, what we're gonna be doing is you will be rewriting this in either of these two forms. It's either this form or this form. So the very first thing that you will do is to combine those terms having x. So it means i-combine ni o kana. So you have now 9x squared minus 18x. Okay? The other group will be for the y's. So you have 4y squared plus 16y. And the constant should be transferred to the right side. Okay? So that negative 11 becomes positive 11. Clear? Is it clear, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you tell me ha kung nalibog na? So the next thing that we will do is to make the numerical coefficient of this x squared and y squared to be 1. Always bear in mind, dapat 1 na para dili lisod. So how to do it? Of course, you factor out that number there. If that is not 1, you factor it. So you factor out 9. So it becomes x squared. What will be the answer here now, class? If you factor out 9?
Negative
Negative
2x.
2x.
Very good. It should be negative 2x. How about the other side? So you factor out 4, right? So you will now have here y squared. How about here? What should be the answer?
Positive 4.
Positive
4y,
y.
sir.
Very good. Positive
Positive
4y
4y.
equal to 11. Now, as you can see, these standard forms that I provided you, there is always a square, right? Square here, square also here. So what you will be doing is you should make it a perfect square as well as this. And I think you know how to do it, right? In our previous example, the previous discussion rather. We can make it a perfect square. What should be added here?
Sir. 1.
1. Very good. It should be 1. So it is something like you added 9 in the left side. Agree with me? 9. Not just 1 because you have multiplied by 9 here. So you added 9 in the left side, so you add 9 also in the right side. Got it? So while in this portion, what should be added here? What should be added here?
4.
4.
4.
4.
Because
sir. Tas
4
divided
divided by
by
2 is
2.
2.
Two
Take
is
the square is
2.
4, right? So you something like you added the left side by 16, right? It is 16 because 4 times 4 mana. So you add 16 also here. Clear? Then after that, it will be now 9. And I know you know how to do it. X minus 1 quantity squared, right? This portion will be now 4 y plus 2, no? Quantity squared equal to, what's the answer, Dri class? If you add this,
36.
sir.
36. 36. Now, we are not yet near to what we want to form, right? Because here must be 1, and that is 36. Sa katong himuon class?
Divide ang 36.
Yes, very good. You divide 36 both sides of the equation. And if you do it, of course, this 36 will be distributed in each term, right? And 9 divided by 36 is just 1/4, right? So it can be written as x minus 1 quantity squared over 4. Agree? While 4 over 36 is 1 over 9. So it can be written as y minus plus 2 rather, quantity squared all over 9. And here is 1. We are almost there, right? So now, sa nalay kulang? Ang sa denominator. So we can rewrite it as x minus 1 quantity squared over 2 squared, right? Well, in this
Yes, sir.
portion, I need to rewrite this into something like minus because all of the forms are in minus 4, right? So it should be written as y minus the negative of 2. Still, that is positive 2, right? Right? Do you agree with me? The negative of the negative is just a positive. All over 3 squared equal to 1. Now, my question is, asa ato ang major axis? Parallel sa x or parallel sa y?
Parallel sa y, sir.
How did you know, Christian?
Kaya ang numerator, kaning a, sir, kay mas dako mong ang 3 squared kaysa sa 2 squared, sir. Tas
Very good.
natunong siya sa ubos sa y
Very
minus
good.
plus 2.
Correct. Your A here is 3. Agree? And unsa ni? Kaning 2, unsa na inyong 2? What is that 2?
B.
B. Very good. Magkuyog yun na si B o si A, di ba? So that is your B. Unsay wala diri?
Ang C, sir.
C. How to solve for C? How to solve for C? Remember, we have the formula B squared is equal to, sa the formula kaganina? A squared.
Squared minus C squared.
Since our B is 2, so it becomes 4. Agree? Because 2 squared is 4. Your A is 3, so you take the square, that is 9 minus C squared. Right? And if you continue that, admit this. So it will be now, you can transfer c to the other side. It becomes positive c squared. It will be now 9 minus 4. Right? Sakto? So it will be now c squared equal to 5, or your c is just plus or minus square root of 5. Right? No? Sakto, class? Pila ng square root of 5, class? Approximately. Pila ka na?
2.236, sir.
Oh, 2 point something. Right? Kaya ang
Yes, sir.
square root of 4 is 2. So the square root of 5 is 2 something. Right? So if we will plot it, by the way, asa gani atong major axis, class? Do you still remember? Ang gingon ni Christian
Sa Y.
kanina?
Sa Y, sir.
Parallel ni
Y-axis.
y-axis.
Y-axis, sir.
So ang kurba din sa imong ellipse na unya paana, no? Diri, no? Diba? So unahon na to. Asa ahaman ang ato ang vertex. What we will use in finding the vertex? A, B, C, A, B, or C? A, B, or C? Vertex. Sa gamiton.
Ang con, sir. A, sir.
A. If you will have your A, that will be used for your vertex. But remember that our center is not in the origin anymore, right? Do you remember it? So you will be using now the theorem that we have. Now my question is, what theorem atong gamiton? Kining naa sa babaw or kanang naa sa ubos nga theorem?
Ubos, sir.
Aba.
Okay,
Ubos.
sa ubos, di ba? Because your
Ubos.
major axis is parallel of your y-axis. So it means you will be using the theorems here. So your center is at HK. Kita niyo dira? So sa atong H class, by the way, what is our H?
Positive 1, sir.
Positive 1.
One.
You get it from here, right? That is positive 1. How about your K?
Negative 2, sir.
Negative 2, sir.
Okay, very good. So it means your center is at 1, negative 2. Clear? Sakto ba, class? Nasabtan ba? Okay, unsa pa itong makuha dira? How to find your vertices? Unsay formula sa vertices gani? Kita ninyo sa theorem? Sa ubos? Unsay formula sa vertices?
Sir. H plus
comma, plus
positive
minus
minus
A
plus minus
plus
A
K.
plus K, sir.
Right? Or something like you added A in your coordinate here. Got it? So your vertex should be 1 plus or minus. What is your A again, class? What is your A? What is your A?
2.
A. Tanaw diri.
3, sir.
3. So it should be plus or minus 3 plus your K. But what is your K?
Negative 2.
So it will be minus 2 here. Clear? So what are the two vertices? The two vertices are vertex 1 should be 1. For the positive side, it should be 3 minus 2, it is 1. Agree? While for the vertex 2, you will use the negative of the 3. So it should be 1, negative 5. Got it? Sabtan? Now, sa patong wala nakuha, we need to get the foci. Okay? Unsay formula sa focus dira, class? Unsay formula? Focus is given by, sige ngon dira, should be H, comma, plus or minus C plus K. Pareha og form ani, pero ilisdan ni og C, right? So it should be 1. What is your C? What is your C?
Square root of 5, sir.
Square root of 5. So it should be plus or minus square root of 5 minus 2. So the foci that you have are focus 1, 1. For the positive, square root of 5. So square root of 5 minus 2 because you cannot combine them. You simply copy them. The focus 2 should be for the negative. Negative square root of 5 minus 2. These are the foci. Kung saan nalay wala, class? Saan nalay wala? Banis. O say wala dra banis. Kasi wala na to na solve.
Endpoints.
Again,
Ang minor
Extremities.
axis, sir.
ang minor
Directrix.
axis, ang extremities. No, ang E. Di ba? We are not yet done solving for E. How to solve for E? If your major axis is parallel to your x-axis, then you will be adding in the ordinate. But for the extremities, you will be adding in the abscissa. Right? Opposite ng B, kang A o C. Diba? So, and the formula for that will be plus or minus B. Kita ninyo diri? Plus H, comma K. And we know that our B is 2, so it will be plus or minus 2 plus your H. What is your H, class? What is your H?
1, sir.
1, comma, then your K, which is the negative 2. Okay? So the extremities that you have are, what is the first extremity? You can tell me?
Positive. 3.
Positive 3, negative 2.
Very good.
Negative 2.
Positive 3, negative 2. How about the extremity 2?
Negative 1.
Negative 1,
Negative 2.
negative 2.
Very good. Very good. Negative 1, negative 2. And I think we are now ready to plot this one, right? And by the way, let me ask you, what is the equation of your major axis? Nagingon dito, x equal to your h. So your major axis should be given by x equal to your h. What is your h? What is your
1.
1, sir.
1? Okay? Sabtan? So, ang imong minor axis po, sa pwede mo ang minor axis. So, ang minor
Y
axis
equals-
class is given by y equal to your k. Okay? And your k is negative 2. Right? Sabtan? Okay, now, wala mo napamagod ni sumpay nga theorem sa next ka page. Okay? So, the next thing that you will have is to plot. Actually, ang kinahanglan na gyud unta class, kung naalang ka aning vertex o extremity, you can plot your ellipse. That too, ang importante. But there are cases that kinahanglan po nimong uban nga mga idea aning mga parts so that you can complete your graph. Okay, now, asa man ni dapitan ning center? 1, negative 2. Amo na dapitan 1, negative 2 class. 1 here, right? Negative 2. 1, 2. Somewhere here. Agree? Sakto ba? That is your center. Okay. Asa ang vertex 1? 1. Wait. 1, negative 2. Sakto ba no? Okay. Asa imong vertex 1? The 1, 1, right?
Sa upper right, sir.
Kini.
Upper right.
Ano? Your vertex 1. Agree? Asa imuhang vertex number 2? Vertex number 2.
Sa lower right.
Kanino? So 3, 4, 5. Somewhere here. This is your vertex 2. Because that is 1, negative 5. 1 for x, negative 5 for y. Okay. So this is your major axis. Diba major axis, your x is equal to 1. Mo nino? X is equal to 1. Diba? X is equal to 1 na siya. So, asa imong focus 1? So somewhere, so your focus 1 is 1 square root of 5 minus 2. We know that square root of 5 is 2 point something. So that is point something ra. That is your focus 1. Okay? And your focus 2 must be somewhere here. Okay, your extremities. Your extremity 1 is 3, negative 2. So, ama ng 3, negative 2. 1, 2, 3. Negative 2. So, it's somewhere here. Extremity number 1. Your extremity number 2, negative 1 for x, negative 2 for y. So, it is somewhere here. Extremity 2. So, if you will plot your ellipse, it must pass through your vertex 1 and vertex 2, as well as it will pass through your extremities. So it will look like this. Okay? You get it, class? If you are going to sketch, example, I will have here, ako lang i-solid ang blue ha, because these are parts of your ellipse. It should be solid. Solid. Say for example, I want to plot my major axis. So the major axis must be here. This is your major axis. Your minor axis must be somewhere here. This is your minor axis. Okay? Hanap kita itong directrixes. Directrix 1 must be somewhere here. Directrix 2 must be somewhere here. Okay? Ay, by the way, class, one more thing. Let me ask you. What is the eccentricity here? Because the eccentricity will check whether you got it correctly or not. Kasi ganit formula sa eccentricity, class? What is the formula for eccentricity?
C
It's
over A, sir.
C over A. What is your C here? What is your C?
Square root of 5, sir.
Square root of
Square
5.
root of 5.
What is your A?
3, sir.
3. Is it less than 1?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because 2 point something, that is 3. Right? So it should be less than 1. So it means we got it correctly. The values of A, B, and C are correct. Okay? That will also check whether you got it correctly.
Excuse
Any
me,
questions?
sir.
Yes.
Yes, kanang ang proper fraction is less than 1 yun siya. O kung proper fraction is greater than 1.
Yes, in this case, ang inyong eccentricity should be less than 1. If mahitabo gani Jetro nga ang makuha ninyo sa eccentricity is an improper fraction, it means greater than 1, pasabot nasayop ka sa pagpangita sa value ni A or B diri sa ellipse. Kuha? So you need to
Sir.
go over again with your solution. Okay? But in the hyperbola na mahitabo, walay problema kaya ang hyperbola the other way around man. Okay? Any questions? Clarifications for that? Hello? Any questions? Yes, Daluma. Yes, Daluma. You're raising your hand?
Ay, sir, nalang ko question, sir. Baka nang,
Yes.
na square root of 2 siya, sir. Sorry.
Nasayop ang ballpen. it's square root of 5. Thank you, Miss Daluma. Nasayop ang pen pagbutang. Nasayop. It's square root of 5. Thank you for that correction, Miss Daluma. Miss Nashri Jane. It's 5. Square root of 5. Okay? Napa yung pangutana? Is there any question? Yes, that is correct. That should be square root of 5. Wala na? Okay, I'll give you one more
Napa,
problem.
sir, wait lang.
Yes, sige, go. You have the...
So, dili siya less than 1, sir. Square root of 5, ay, ambot lang.
Ang square root of 5 is 2 something, right? Nasayop lang kog sulat
Ay,
ato.
sige, get sir, get.
Go
Sige,
ahead,
sorry.
Pero tong
Thank you.
5 is approximately
2 point something.
2.23.
So it should be less than 3. So it's still less than 1. Okay? So naklaro na, Jane?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. I like students like that. Kana yung mangita og kanang nga na ba mangutanag yun. It means you are listening. I really like students kay ingon ana kay makita masin dig masayo pud ta usay nato nasayo og sulat. So we can correct it. Very good for that. So I encourage all of you to ask question if you have something in mind nga dili man yun sa man na pagkuha ana. You should ask question. And do not hesitate to ask question because I am very much approachable. And that is for your own good. Maybe nalibog na mo niya, wala ninyo gi-raise, din maglibog na mo samot. So you raise it. Napay concern? Wala na? Okay, I have one more problem here for you. Ang inyong nakita kasagara class, gitagaan mo properties, inyong pangitawan ng equation. It's the other way around. Say for example, you are asked to find the equation of the ellipse. Okay, find the equation of the ellipse that will satisfy the following properties. First property, iyang center is at 4, -2. Another, one of the vertices or vertex 1 is at 9, -2. Another, one of the foci or focus number 1 is given by 0, -2. And then you are asked to find the equation of your ellipse by just having that one. Baka ganina pabaliktad no? Gitagaan tag equation atong i-graph. Karon, you are given with some parts of your ellipse. Then you will be asked what is the equation of your ellipse. How to do that? Do you have any idea? What should be the first thing to do? First step to do?
Ang center, sir, ang center kay x is equal to x. Yes, sir, ako, sir. Pwede ko mag-annotate, sir.
Sure. Sige, sure. I will allow you to annotate lang ha. For a while. Ay, istorya na lang, Jetro, kay mawala mo gud akong share screen. Sige, go. Ako nakasulat man. Go, Jetro. What should be the first step, Jetro, to do? What should we do first?
Ang center, sir.
The center will be denoted by HK, right? Jetro?
Yes, sir.
Sa ato pa, kining 4 is H already. Right? And this one is your K. Amo na pasabot ni Jetro. Dayon? Wala na idea si Jetro. Very good. Squared. Very good. Now, ang pangutana ron, Jetro. Kabalo ka sa imong A, B, o C.
Yes.
Ha? Nakakamute ka, Jetro.
Yes, sir. Tanaw na ko. 9. This is squared. So, wait lang, sir.
Okay, ano day class? Kalit lang, Jetro, ha? Ato sa pending gamay imong idea. You are almost there. Ang importante day class, if you are given with this, you should know what is your H, what is your K, what is your A, and your B. Anang tulo ay upat. But in some cases, you are given with A and C, and you don't have the B. So you should also find the C, because these three are interconnected. Okay, if you have these values, then you can find the equation. Now, ako sa Irison Jetro ha, para makita nila ang say pasabot. Jetro is almost there. Is almost there. Okay, kinisa ang atong himuon class. Asa na to makitaan si A? Asa na to makitaan si B? Asa na to makitaan
The vertex.
si C? Okay. Mas maayo ha, we plot it first. Ato i-graph ha, para makita ninyo. Manay pinaka-importante himuon diri class. You graph it first. Sige daw, Jetro, ipakiplot daw asa ang C, ang center. I will ask another student later to plot the vertex 1. Where is the center, Jethro? Here in the Cartesian coordinate plane. Good. -2, Jethro. -2.
Oh.
4, -2.
Wait lang, -2 man to, no?
Yes, -2. 4, -2. Sakto na. So somewhere here, right? Good. That is your center, right? Okay, I will ask
I-plot
another
pa na.
student to find your vertex. Can I ask Galukan, kindly plot the vertex 1. Vertex 1. Vertex 1. 9, -2. Ito ni-extend gamay, no? Extend na ito na gamay. Wala space. Oops. Naiinis na ako. Sipo gamay. Asa ang vertex 1, Miss Galukan? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 9 man. Yes. Okay, there. Good. Asa ang point? Okay. Very good. So it must be somewhere here. Kanino? Jessa? Naka-mute si Jessa?
Sir, wala, sir. Sorry, sir. Wala na akong na-unmute.
Okay. Very good. This one is your vertex
1, sir.
How about vertex, focus 1? Can I ask Amin, Kasan? Kasan, can you plot the vertex, the focus 1 rather? The focus 1.
Sir, I
9 is equal to ito. Okay,
Amin?
may lapat pa na.
Amin?
yes, sir.
Okay.
I-plot ng graph. Okay, kay focus. Graph
Zero
mo na
and negative.
para
Or sir.
graph mo na tapos equation na siya ang
Not sir.
Okay, good. Very good, Amin. It should be 0, -2. Correct. So sa ato pa di ay somehow like the F2, no? Kung buot lang at sa notation. Anyway, it will denote whatever you wanted to denote. So somewhere here is the other focus. This is the first focus. Probably we will just use focus 2. Okay, focus 1 na ba yung gamit, no? So na diri somewhere here ang atong focus number 1. Okay? Unsa inyong nahibaw-an between the center and the vertex? Their distance. What you know about the distance between center and the vertex? That will be denoted by what letter?
A.
A. The distance
tama.
between C and any vertex is just your A. Got it? But in this case, actually you may use the distance between 2 points. But in this case, your y is equal, so you just have to get the absolute value of the difference of their abscissa. Kasi abscissa ganyan ni vertex 1? 9, no? Sakto, no? Ni center 4, -2. Right? You just get the absolute value of that. So it is just 9 minus 4. So it becomes 5. Okay? So your A now, this is A, ha? Your A is just 5 units. Got it? So your A is just 5 units. And now, what can we get out of this focus and this center? What's up po ng distance between focus and center? Anyone? I think I mentioned something a while ago about that. Center and the focus. Alison,
Ano,
what?
sir?
Denoted by C siya, sir.
Is
C,
C,
very
sir.
good. That is your C. Your C is the distance between your center and any focus. Say, focus 1 yung gigamit. Focus 1 na itong gamiton. And again, they have the same, since they are lying in the same line, so they have the same ordinate. So in that case, you can get the absolute value of the difference of their abscissa. And this is just 0, -2. So it will be 4 minus 0. So it is just 4. And that is your C, right? So we already have the value of A. We already have the value of C. So na lang wala na to.
B na lang, sir.
B na lang, sir.
Kung saan man pag-solve si B?
Absolute value
Atong
of
formula nga
C.
B squared equals A squared minus C
Very
squared,
good.
sir.
You will be using the B squared equal to A squared minus C squared. Anyways, na naman kay C, na po kay A, right? So your B squared now becomes, what is your A again?
5.
5, sir.
5
If you
squared.
take the square, that will be 25, right? Now, what is your C?
4 squared. 4 siya, sir.
4. If you
4
take the
squared is
square,
equal to
that becomes 16. So it will be now B squared is equal to
9, sir. Tas
9.
square root
Nine.
on both sides. 3 din siya, sir.
B is equal
it
to
becomes
positive or
B is
negative 3.
yes, positive or negative 3. Or somehow your B is 3. Okay? Your B is 3. Are you now ready to find the equation? If you want to find the equation, let me use this portion so that we will have enough space. Let me erase this portion. Anyway, this is just a given. Sa ganing nga, now let me ask you, what equation atong gamiton?
X-axis
Standard
nga
form.
major axis, sir.
Parallel sa x-axis. Anong kabalo man ta nga parallel sa x-axis iyang major axis?
Ang ila daw sa pagplot sa graph, sir, mas taas pa ni
Yes,
nasa
very good. Nakita man ninyo, makita man sa graph, di ba? Importante yun nga i-plot ang graph. Because by just looking at your graph, you will be able to know what equation to be used. Because if you will not plot it, you will be confused. Kani ba akong gamiton or katong isa? Di ba? So it is very important to plot your graph. Okay, now. So we will be using this or this one. Lower or upper?
upper, sir.
Upper. Ano man, naaman dila si A squared kang X, no? So you will be using X minus H quantity squared all over A squared plus Y minus K quantity squared over B squared equal to 1. Clear? Now, before we proceed, let me ask you, nanatay value ni H? Nanatay value ni H?
Nana, sir.
Kung gani value ni H kanina?
4.
4. Kung value
Sa
ni K?
graph.
Negative 2.
Negative 2. So walay problema si H ug si K. Walay problema si H ug si K? Wala. How about si
Wala,
A
sir.
ug si B? Naana na i-value?
Yes, sir.
Naana
Ano, sir?
po. Your
Na,
A
sir.
is 5, your B is 3, right? So you can substitute it here. So what you will have is X minus, you can dictate to me what will be the value of H?
4, sir.
4.
Very good. 4 squared equal, all over, what is your A?
5, sir.
A niya.
5.
That is 5 squared. So 25?
Squared. 25.
Okay. Plus Y minus, what is your K? What is your K?
Negative.
Negative 2.
Negative 2. So it becomes plus 2, right?
Yes, sir.
Minus 2 man. B squared. B squared.
3
3
squared. 3
squared. 9.
9, sir.
9.
9.
Equal to?
3 squared is equal to 9.
Yes.
1.
1. Now, if you are asked depending on the problem, if you are asked, give the standard form, then this will do. Pero kung giingon, give the general form of the equation of the ellipse, then you should rewrite it into the general form. Okay? Okay, ato i-general form ha. Kasi himuon pag rewrite into general form.
I-transfer ang 25 og 9 sa other side, sir.
Saan man na pag himo?
I-cross multiply ang answer.
Sa
cross
kasi yung luman
multiply.
nakahuman na mo sa inyo ang rational equations sa general mathematics.
Yes, sir.
O sa
Yes,
himuon
sir.
para mawala ang denominator gani.
LCD, sir.
Yes, you
LCD,
will be
sir.
multiplying the LCD both sides of the equation. And what is your LCD here? What is the LCD between 25 and 9?
225, sir.
225. So you will be multiplying here 225. Di na ako imbutang ha, di wala na space. 225. And also here 225. Okay? If that will happen, the 225 divided by 25 is just pila na? That is
9,
just
sir.
9.
9.
And the square of this is x squared minus 8 squared, no? 8x plus 16. Agree? This, if you simplify this, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
The other side will be 225 divided by 9. That is just 25. Right?
Yes, sir.
If you take the square of this, it will be y squared
Plus 4.
4y
Plus 4x. 4y.
Plus 4.
plus
plus
4
4.
Then, sir.
equal to 225. We're almost there. Kapit na, no? So we will be distributing each of them. Okay. So what will be the answer here? Can you dictate it to me, please? What's the next?
9x squared
9x squared
minus
9x
72x
minus
22x plus
22x. What is
144, sir.
63. Ay, 72x.
Pila man na?
9 times
144.
Pila? 144?
144.
144.
So plus
Positive
144 plus. This time you distribute the 25.
25y squared plus
Plus
100y, sir.
100y plus 100.
100y.
Plus
100y
100,
plus
Plus
100.
100.
I-transfer na to na sa pikas, negative 225 equal to 0. Kay general form, no? Kahit na 0 dila, di ba? Almost there. We are almost there. So it will be 9x squared. It will be plus 25y squared. Right? We just rearrange it. Minus 72x plus
Plus 100y.
100y. If you combine this 3, what will be the answer? This is 244, no? 244 minus 225. Pila man na?
19, sir.
19, sir.
19 plus 19 equal to 0. Okay? Okay, class? So this is now your final answer. This is now the general form of the equation of your ellipse. Oh, see? Makalingaw, di ba? Lisod siya tanawon, pero you know what? Makalingaw ni siya nga topic. Okay, any questions? I want to hear from you. Do you have any questions? Because kung wala na mo'y pangutana, I will be leaving you a bunch of problem for you to answer, and probably in your Google quiz I will get some of the questions out of that problem set. Any questions? None?
Na siguro, sir. Wala may tubag.
Okay, wala na nitubag. So nakasabot na tingali na. Doha man ang kuana na class. It's either nakasabot kaayo or wala nakasabot kung di mo tingog. Nakasabot man kaha mo. Yes, Jetro?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Kanang ang ngauna na ba kung basta equal ang A og B, sir, kay kuha na siya automatically circle to siya, sir.
Circle, yes, circle. Mag-discuss pa punta na. Natay discussion na after we discuss the hyperbola. We will have another discussion wherein we combine all of the 4. Yes, that's correct, Jetro. If the A and B are equal, then the result is a circle. Correct. Can I have concerns? Wala na. Okay, let me stop sharing.